The clutch is the lifeline of your drivetrain. It takes all the power from your engine, puts it through the transmission, down to the rear wheels and eventually the road. So today, with help from Centerforce, we're going to teach you a few things about buying a performance clutch. We're going to start off by going through a pre-installation checklist, then we're going to give you some installation tips and tricks that should help this to be a fairly painless experience. Now, the Ford Mustang GT behind us, it's a 2000 model. It's suffering from a bit of a slipping clutch right now. So we're going to install one of Centerforce's finest. Let's get started. Now before you get all excited and start wrenching, you need to cover all your bases with your clutch installation. First off, there's going to be some tools and supplies that you're going to need, which we're going to cover in this video, but also you need to determine why your old clutch failed. Did it fail due to ordinary wear and tear, or did you experience clutch failure? If you experienced clutch failure, you need to fix the problem. If it's in a performance application, you need to upgrade your clutch's holding power to match the horsepower of your car. Now, let's take a look at the tools and supplies you're going to need. First off, a service manual for your vehicle will include all torque values as well as any special tools you're going to need. The tools should include a torque wrench, a clutch alignment tool, jack and jack stands, and a transmission jack or a jack adapter to support your transmission. Now in terms of fluids, acetone or brake cleaner is going to be needed to clean your pressure plate and flywheel prior to the installation. And you may also need additional fluids like transmission fluid or hydraulic clutch fluid depending on your application. Finally, make sure you not only have your new clutch like this Centerforce for our 2000 Ford Mustang GT, but also a throwout bearing, a pilot bearing, a resurfaced or new flywheel, and preferably new bolts for your flywheel and pressure plate. So it looks like we're about ready to install this clutch. Time to get the transmission out. So now that we're ready to begin the installation of our Centerforce clutch, there's a few things we need to take into consideration. First off, you can see we've removed our transmission, our pressure plate, and of course the old clutch. Now we need to inspect all of the clutch components before we begin. First, the clutch fork, the splines on the input shaft, the pilot bearing, and throwout bearing guide. Also, if you've got a vehicle with a hydraulic system, you'll need to inspect that fully to make sure it's working correctly. It's simple. If anything's damaged, you need to replace it. Now we're ready to install the new clutch. First, you need to check to make sure the clutch disc slides smoothly and spins straight on the transmission's input shaft. Take a look at your new or resurfaced flywheel. Has it been properly resurfaced and balanced to meet OEM specs? In our case, we've got a brand new flywheel and pressure plate supplied by Centerforce. Also, you want to inspect the dowel pins on the flywheel at this point to make sure that they're straight and smooth. Next, you'll need to lubricate the input shaft with some lithium grease or dry graphite lubricant, but make sure you don't get any on any high friction surfaces. That would be bad. Now, we're actually ready to install our Centerforce clutch, so we're almost there. We started off by bolting in the Centerforce flywheel and torquing the bolts to the recommended foot-pounds. Now make sure you use Loctite on the bolts. This will prevent them from coming loose down the road. Next, we assembled our Centerforce disc and pressure plate and lightly tightened the pressure plate. Using the clutch alignment tool, we correctly positioned the disc by centering it within the pressure plate before torquing down the bolts. The rest of the installation was easy, reinstalling the clutch fork, the bell housing and the transmission. Then all we had to do was adjust the clutch cable for correct engagement, and our Mustang went from 0 to hero in just a few hours. Well, I gotta say, it already feels better, but now we've got to wear it in. Centerforce recommends that we do 400 to 500 miles of easy driving, which means no full throttle. Now, I know you want to romp it, but the truth of the matter is you can damage your clutch if you don't let the friction surfaces break in correctly, so it'll be worth it in the long run. So hopefully now you've got a better idea of some of the pre-installation tips and tricks that will not only help you install your Centerforce clutch, but also make sure it lives a long and reliable life. Just with a little preparation, the right tools, and making sure your clutch components are in good shape before you start can mean that your Centerforce clutch installation is a breeze.